Joining me now, Director of Domestic Policy Studies at the Heritage Foundation, Marie Fishpaw. Marie, what do you make of this decision and what's going to come out of this hearing?
Well, no matter what happens with next week's hearing, Obamacare is not going to change anytime in the near future. So if you are getting your benefits from Obamacare right now, nothing is going to change for the foreseeable future. This court case has a while to go. It's going to wind its way through the legal system and may well end up at the Supreme Court. What the most useful thing about next week's developments is that it's a good reminder for all of us that Congress is going to eventually have to come back to health reform and deal with it, because only they can really tackle some of the real reasons that costs have gone up so much and choices have gone down for consumers under Obamacare.
What's going to happen, do you think? Because this is a debate that's playing out in the race for the Democratic nomination for president, where you have some individuals, paltry few, willing to raise their hand on a debate stage and say, hey, I want to take private insurance away from 180 million people, but nevertheless a lot of talk about a public option in the Affordable Care Act. How do you see the fix playing out in the next year, next 2 years for Obamacare?
Well, the left has made it really clear that they have their preferred solution to Obamacare. They'd like to move on as well and replace it with a government-run program for all of us, and that outlaws our private health insurance. Those somewhat to the right of that would like to do similar things that would end up, in my view, getting us to the same place, just more slowly. And the public option is, these are all options that double down on the same recipes we've seen that have led to higher costs, fewer choices for consumers. So the conservatives need to come up with an alternative that speaks well to those real concerns by Americans, and conservatives have been working to do just that over the last few years. We've come up with a proposal that would lower costs by 30% while increasing private coverage.
Hey, Marie, it's Mike Block here. You know, a lot of what we hear from the Republican Party is really based upon this repeal and replace, and we never quite hear the replace part of that. So, you know, the solutions that you're speaking of here, you know, what does that really entail? Is it repeal or replace, or is it making adjustments to ACA? You know, can that work under, you know, what we're seeing here?
Well, I think it can work. One of the reasons costs have gone up so much in recent years is that Obama gives insurance companies more taxpayer dollar every time they raise prices, which is a real recipe for the kind of cost increases and choice decreases we've seen. So one of the things that needs to be done is to address that. The Trump administration is taking all the steps within their power that they can to provide relief now, and that's leading to real cost reductions in some states that have gotten waivers from some of the more rigorous Obamacare mandates. So we've seen costs come down in those states, coverage go up, all through tools that help protect pre-existing conditions. So we need Congress to do more to enable some of the relief that's already been put in place in smaller ways.